Chapter 12, we're going to take a look at something today called binary files. Up to this point, we've done a bunch of work with files, and everything we've done is text files. And text files are files that you could also open up in Notepad. Any kind of text processor will allow you to open them up and look at them, open them up to modify them, append to them, make any kind of changes you want. But what a binary file is going to do is set it up so that when you save or write information to a binary file, it saves it in binary terms. And as soon as I say binary, right away everybody is thinking zeros and ones and ones and zeros. And that would be correct. That's how it's stored. And as you know, everything that is a character has an ASCII number, and that number could be saved as binary. For example, if I said the letter A, we know A has a binary, or capital A, we know capital A has a ASCII code of 65. Is that right? Where are my nerds?
Sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right. But then we also know 65 would be stored as an integer. So I would need 4 bytes to store it. So if I wanted to save capital A into a binary file, I could come up with the binary number for 65, which you could quickly calculate and go from there. Okay. So these binary files, some of them look really goofy. If you try to open them and look at them, some of them not. But one of the things we need to do is start with the access flag of iOS binary so that we know that we're saving and we're working in binary. Okay. Again, right now, what we're looking at is, and if you type the code listings in, we're dealing with writing characters. So in order to work with the binary files, we're going to deal with characters. What if something isn't a character? Well, that's when we're going to come down here and we're going to recast it to turn it into a character data type. But for now, the first one that you had, and code listing 12.3 is the one that you typed in to get this started. You notice we had in line 10, we did the F stream, we called it file. In line 13, when you opened it up, you did the flag out and you did the flag binary. So you included this iOS binary. As you went through, you saw you had a new way of writing to the file, and that was the ampersand letter followed by the size of the letter. Okay, the size of becomes important, and you saw that when you worked down here with something that wasn't a character. So what I want to write to the file, I go to the address and the size of it, and I'm going to be able to then write that to the file. So if you took a look at program 12.13 and you opened it and ran it, and what you see was it said that you wrote the characters to a data file and then you read them back in from the data file. The data file was called test.dat for this example. And I would be curious, and if I had time, I should have set up a poll. How many of you actually typed the code listing in, ran it, and then even went and looked at test.dat to see what was in it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
I believe I did it for one of them. I can't recall, though.
Okay, good. Now, when you looked at it, could you clearly see A, B, C, D, or was there something else going on?
It was something else.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Does anybody have 12.13 in front of them that can run the program and share your screen? Open up the file so we can take a look at it.
I can pull it up.
Go ahead, that'd be great.
And you said 12.13?
12.13, yeah.
Ref, I just need my yours.
I'm going to my security. I have to turn share screen on.
Okay, 1 second.
Sounds like Ken's going to help us out.
Okay.
That sounds good. Hopefully the rest of you are also opening up 1213. Now, when I
Okay.
say
Yeah.
we can, keep going. When we can open this in a text editor, name a text editor.
I typically use Notepad.
Notepad, right. That's absolutely correct. Could I use JGrasp to open it up and look at it? Sure, that's a text editor as well. There's a lot of different ones.
Okay.
Looks like
And so,
Christian's found something. There it is. He ran the program, and he's going to go open up the file test.dat.
There's nothing in there.
What's that?
There's nothing in mine.
Nothing at all.
No.
Did the program work?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you got output. What did you try to open up test.dat with?
Notepad.
Okay. Let's see what happens here. Test.dat is being opened.
oh. Yeah, that's right.
Like Notepad.
Yeah, you just use the Notepad to get it downloaded, and you can look at it.
Open a notepad, and it
Oh,
actually
this-
came out as A, B, C, and D. Okay. Go back in it, and instead of A, B, C, and D, put in 60 space, put something or put 6 space, just 6 because it's a char. Make it a lowercase a instead of a B. Instead of a B, just try to put a slash in instead of a C.
Backslash or regular?
What's that?
A backslash or regular slash?
Doesn't matter. Now run it and see what the file looks like. And maybe for straight characters, it will let us. The dogs are killing things.
No, let's
So yeah, you're going to have to close Notepad and then reopen it.
do the keyboard. I need to find a new one. Yeah, let me just go tablet.
I know. I'm moving my mouse trying to help, but it's not doing anything.
Oh.
Kind of curious.
Okay, so it still let us see it. So with simple characters, it's fine. Now, when you ran the next one, 1213, thanks, Christian.
It's all 13.
Or excuse me, 1214. When we run 1214, this time I have an integer array inside of 1214. And you see the array is called numbers. We have an implicit initialization of the numbers. We now have a data file called numbers.dat. If you go ahead and run this one,
Yeah. I got weird little boxes.
good, you got something goofy this time.
Yeah, I think that was one I was thinking of.
So there we did the numbers. We did an array this time. And of course, the big line is line number 27. And you all noticed that we had to do the reinterpret cast. And yeah, so we got something in there. All of a sudden, it's looking kind of goofy and we're not sure what's going on. So,
It looks
okay.
like whenever my friends have iPhones and they like put emojis in there,
Yeah.
this is all I see.
Okay. Yeah, and you will see smiley faces and all kind of stuff come up in some of these data files. All right, Christian, give me the screen back. I wonder if I can steal it back. I can't. Yeah, I can do stop participant sharing to get out of there. Okay, so that was code listing 1213. He pulled up first, then he pulled up 1214, and now we had to use this reinterpret cast and the data type. And if you looked at line 27, we had the character array called names that we wanted to. So we have to make some changes. But again, the whole purpose of this is working with a binary file. There's less conversions than a text file. Disadvantages, you can't work with the file. You have to write it as a binary file and read it back in as a binary file. And we're going to do a little bit of work with that. But the first thing I want to do is cover section 1218. Now, this is something that we had talked about before. And one of it was, what if I have this struct of information and I'd like to save it and work with it in a file? And that's this whole creating records with structs. And I mentioned way back when that every secretary had a Rolodex on their, I think that's how it's spelled, Rolodex, on their desk, and they would flip through it like looking at one record at a time, and each one would have a bunch of information on it about a particular person and so on. You did code listing 1215 and 1216. 1215 was a program that, if I'm looking at it on line 25, we get this people.dat ready, and we have iOS out, iOS binary, because we want to write it as a binary file. And you can see that I set it up, and then in line 45, I'm actually writing this reinterpret cast and then ampersand person, size of person. And again, the size of tells me how much memory do I need. It goes and looks at the struct and says, wow, the struct has a character array, whatever memory is needed for that. It has an int, it has a couple more character arrays, and it comes up with that number. So whatever number that is, in the example I have here, I have a character array of size 40, an integer. Well, the integer is 4 bytes. Character array of size 40 would be how many bytes? Character is stored in how many bytes? Somebody say 2. Jeff, say 2.
2.
Thank you. So there's 80, and there's another 4, and there's 160 and 160 and 22 more. So, you know, kind of get the idea that the size of is going to calculate the number of bytes needed for this data type called info, and write blocks of that size. Now, when you get to your next course, we're going to take a data file like this, and we're going to eventually be able to jump around. Right now, when we have a data type, you know, we start with the first record, the second record, the third, the fourth. If you keep looking in our book, you'll see information on how to jump around. Right now, when we work with this, we work sequentially. We read sequentially, we write sequentially. But eventually, we're going to be able to get some random access and jump around the file. Not something that we need to include in this course, but in future courses. So coming back to 1215, we're writing things, we're writing these records, we're writing these structs of type information, and we're storing them in a file. And then we turn around in 1216 and we read the information in, and we can display it in a nice data file. So again, the world that some of you, if not a lot of you, are coming into is big data. You're going to be working with a lot of batch programming, a lot of files where it's these huge amounts of data, and you need to figure out, can I work directly with the file? Do I have to read everything in and store it in an array? What all do I need to do? But as I've been telling you, the word coming down is the mathematician's going to say, here's how you do it. You have to code it and display the results, and you hand them over to a statistician who's then going to do the analysis of it. But part of what you need to do is also understand the math with what's going on. Okay, if you go back to D2L, let me see if I can share my screen, and I want to go to D2L, and that's not D2L. I want to get out of that one. Give me 1 second. to get it set up. We do have some problems with this, and y'all are going to D2L, and I need to release the assignment that I want you to do. What is today? Tuesday,
Fifth.
May 5th. Oh yeah, it's Cinco de Mayo,
Corona Day.
Corona Day. I know, right?
Yeah.
Edit message. I had it set for 11:30. I was slightly off. I must have gone too quickly. I'm going to set it for now. And you should see a secret message. Does everybody see a secret message?
Yes.
It says secret dot dat. All right. So secret dot dat is stored, and it should be stored as a binary file. It's stored as a binary file where everything is in fact characters. So when you read these characters in, I will tell you that they don't look so pretty, because when you read them in, the ASCII number is off by 1. So I really have made it a secret message. So what you need to do is open the data file, read it in as characters, but you need to figure out how to, I think you have to either add 1 to the ASCII number or subtract 1 from the ASCII number. All right, so let me ask you again if you understand what's. I created a secret data file. It's stored as a binary file. You're going to read it in as characters, but if you display it, it's not going to make sense. What you need to do is work with the ASCII number of that character and either add 1 or subtract 1. I forget which one it is, to make the message make sense. Questions?
I don't buy for a second that you forget. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, huh. See, you think I'm full of it, huh? All right, hold on.